The lower point players are often spinal cord injuries. So like number 5, Gavin Rolton, he's a 0.5. So he's got a broken neck, a result of an injury. Oh. Jump ball here.
So that's a loss of possession for New Zealand. It's a held ball, or as a jump ball as it's known in basketball and often known in rugby as well. You can see that the players there, the ball was stuck in between the hands of 2 players. So much along the lines of basketball, it's a held ball, and that means that possession goes to whichever team has their turn coming up next. And in this case, it appears to be Brazil. So Brazil have more or less stolen possession here because they've now got possession. It's not a guaranteed point, but they've taken possession off the Wheel Blacks and be looking to equalise here. Braz having to back off. Feitosa, number 7, has to get out of the key because he's not allowed in there for more than 10 seconds. Much along the lines of basketball as well, and that is popped over the top beautifully. The 2 high pointers there for Brazil, the 2 3.5 pointers combining very well. So
that classification is athletes that often you'll see might be quad amputees, so they'll have missing limbs, missing digits, and a timeout here by New Zealand. Good backcourt pressure by Brazil. So those athletes will have full trunk function. So that's why you can see they don't wear straps around their torso. They can use their hips to turn in and out. So those are the most functional players. So we can only have 8 points on the court. So that's why you'll see 2 3.5s. That takes you up to 7. And the 2.5s all the way to 8.
There we go. You can see 3.5 on the back of Julio Braz's chair. And then if you look back to the Kiwis, the Wheel Blacks, you can see 2.5 for Maya Armai. And obviously when she's on court, you're allowed an extra 0.5.
One of those, wheelchair rugby is the first sport in the world that is always being inclusive. So we've never ever had a women's class and a men's class. We've always been integrated.
So New Zealand with the inbound. The timeout was taken there by Hayden Barton-Coote, the number 6, who reaches up and gets the ball there because he realised he wouldn't get the ball over the halfway line within 12 seconds. So it was a tactical timeout taken.
Good screen, Rolton. So often what the low pointers do, they won't get the ball very much, but their role is to get in the way of the defender. So you'll see here Rolton getting aside, getting a pick. Great pick again by Rolton.
Desperation stuff. You could hear the countdown coming from the New Zealand entourage there, telling Cameron Leslie how much time he'd got left, but there was nothing he could do. That's because off-screen, Hayden Barton-Coote has been trapped by a couple of his opponents. He's about to reappear on your screens now. So, fortunately for New Zealand, they've retained possession because the ball went out of play, last touched by a Brazilian.
So we have a player leaving the court here, number 7, De Lima. So you can't cross that baseline if you don't have the ball. So you can't go out of court without the ball along the baseline.
So there he is. Gabriel Feitosa has gone into the bin. So that is huge for the Wheel Blacks. They're going to play 4-on-3 until they score. Maya Armai lobs one up for the huge wingspan of HBC.
The Wheel Blacks want to score around about 55 seconds here because what they want to do is set up that last score for this quarter.
So there are 55 seconds to go. You're allowed 40 seconds in which to have possession and try to score. So that means that even if Brazil take all 40 seconds, the Wheel Blacks will have at least 15.5 seconds for a final possession, and you always want to score last.
Gavin Rolton might get a big hit here. Oh, so close. Brazilians will look to score fast. Penalty goal. Okay, so that's worked in Brazil's favour now. Just what Drew was talking about. They might look to get the last score now.
They scored as quickly as they possibly could, and Cameron Leslie decided that he was going to get, he didn't mind giving up a foul there and a penalty try. So it's 11-all. Now, can New Zealand, do they want to run the clock down? The main thing is to score. The one thing you need to do is score.
They might look to use a timeout here. This is a tactical move where they might run their shot clock down, that one that we see out there on the corner on your left-hand side of the screen. Oh, we got an equipment. So a player can call an equipment timeout anytime if they've got a puncher or maybe just some strap loose. So it looks like Hayden's got a problem with his wheel. No, what happens is you'll see on the chairs at the back, they've got those little rollerblades, and that's just designed to give stability. So sometimes a bit of the gunk builds up on them and it just slows the chair down. So you need to clean that off.
Gunk, is that a technical term?
Gunk is a technical term. So often all these players will use some sort of stickum on their gloves just to help them grip the ball, and that just wears off and ends up on the ground.
So 22 seconds for New Zealand. They will be hoping to get, they've got 5 seconds on the shot clock though, is the main thing. And that is why HBC, you saw him stick his hands in the air for that timeout. So you can see on the game clock 14.5 seconds. The timeout resets the shot clock to 15 seconds. So those two clocks are the same now. New Zealand have got 14.5 seconds in which to score. That will give them the final score of the quarter. And obviously, if you can score last and score first in every quarter, that's a 2-point advantage you're getting over your opponents.
And so that jump ball that we had earlier, now that New Zealand will get the ball back in the next half, this is why this is critically important to score last.
Time management is all well and good. The main thing, though, it's not the clock that decides the score at the end of the day, it's the scoreboard. So Leslie waits because the clock doesn't start up until he's touched it. He's now got to score. Desperation defence, HBC,
Great
the big fella,
HBC.
can he get over? How good was that? The 1-2 between Cameron
back,
Leslie.
Hustle back, hustle back.
Can Maya Armai get to it?
I think he's called a timeout. They need to fill the key really fast here, the All Blacks. Don't let them get in. Oh, they've let number 11 get in.
So Braz is in the key. The inbound's going to be from the other side.
That's kind of worked in New Zealand's favour to a degree. Brazil was set up for an inbound from the far side, so let's just see what happens here.
Feitosa, the number 7, getting himself in the key.
It's going to go long. It's going to go long. He's got 10 seconds to get it in. Will he do it?
Huge for New Zealand. He had to throw it long. He had to try to find Lucas Couto, who is a 0.5 pointer, so he hasn't got the trunk function to try to get to that ball. So that is a huge turnover as far as New Zealand is concerned. The tough thing here is going to be a corner inbound. Very difficult for Maya Armai to do. And it would be great if New Zealand could score, but no.
Oh, holding foul. This is big. So what's going to happen now? Number 11, De Rosa, he's going to be in the bin. He'll stay there for this quarter and the next. So he's going to be in the bin for the start of the next quarter as well.
Unless, of course, New Zealand can score in the next 0.5 seconds. Highly unlikely. So we're going to be able to catch our breaths any second now. This is purely going to be inbounded, you'd have thought, by Cameron Leslie. HBC will stick it in his lap, and at the end of the first quarter, New Zealand lead 12 points to 11. Welcome back to the NZCIS. I hope you've managed to catch your breath during that short 3-minute break. We're about to start the second quarter. New Zealand with a 1-point advantage, and a big advantage in that they have not possession. The possession is going to be for Brazil. It's Brazil's turn. They have the possession arrow, the red arrow you can see on the table there in the middle. But as you can see, number 11, Julio Braz, is in the bin, and it is actually New Zealand who have possession. So they've got possession and they're playing 4-on-3. So it should be an easy enough score for New Zealand, and they got the last point at the end of the first quarter, the first point at the end of the second, and that is what's going to make the difference. That is the difference on the scoreboard.
It is, and here we go. This is that 2-point advantage we were just talking about. And again, they're going to make number 11, Brazil, to inbound. And again, they're not used to inbounding. They're used to just receiving on the court.
Braz gets it to Diaz.
They left the gate open there, the Wheel Blacks.
And then Feitosa, 3.5-pointer. He's always going to have the wheels. And now we've had a few changes in the New Zealand lineup.
The whānau on from Auckland. Went to high school at De La Salle in Auckland. Played for their first 15 alongside Isaiah Tuiava. Ooh, what's the call here? Oh.
So the inbound there from Le Whānau, not the best. Gave HBC a little bit too much to do, and it ended up going out of play off HBC's arm. So that means that possession is going to go the way of Brazil. So Brazil scored off their first possession, and now the inbound.
No, I think it's still New Zealand's ball. Actually, we're quite lucky.
There we go.
Yeah. I think lucky call maybe, Drew.
We're obviously completely and utterly impartial here in the commentary box. And that's fired forward.
Backcourt. Yeah, they were lucky there, the Kiwis.
Well, that is an over and back in basketball, a backcourt violation, or an over and back in rugby, and a backcourt violation in basketball. So once you've got the ball in the front court, the half of the court you're attacking, you can't take it back, and that's actually what happened. But
ooh, no goal. Leslie hit that corner post. You've got to get 2 wheels over that line without touching that corner post. And he was deemed to have just made contact with that cone. Let's see this replay here. Look, you see that just there. That's why Cameron's protesting. He's saying those 2 little casters at the front were over first.
it was great work by Feitosa of Brazil to push Cameron Leslie out there. So a lot of turnovers coming early in this second quarter. Brazil obviously regrouped during their 3-minute break. They were 2 points down, and now they find themselves level. Benoit Labrec, their coach, a coach of incredible experience on the international stage, obviously helped them to reset during that break. He did.
Benoit first coached with Canada back in the early 2000s, then with Sweden through the 2010s. He's made Paralympic finals, World Champ finals. Very experienced.
Cameron Leslie gets it over the halfway line within 12 seconds. Once again, it's a giveaway. It's a turnover.
World Blacks need to... Oh, big hit. Big hit, Cameron Leslie.
It's a big hit, but it's a big hit for New Zealand on the scoreboard. They're taking some blows here. And what was 13-11 for New Zealand is now 14-13 for Brazil. All of the hard work of the first 8 minutes has been undone in a minute and a quarter here in the second quarter.
Yeah, Kiwis just go back to that patient start they had. They'll bring this back. They'll bring this back. Now you'll watch here, HBC is going to use Rolton as a screen. So when we took a screen, they just run one side of that high pointer and HBC can get some speed up.
The Wheel Blacks have made another substitution. Fani Le Whānau has gone off.
And goal, Rolton, stayed wide, good spreading. Wheelchair rugby, much like netball and all those other sports, you spread the court, get the ball, spread the defence.
Lifono off and Maya Amai back on. And what we saw in the Wheel Blacks' first match against Colombia, what they did well, they didn't do a lot well, but what they did well was regular changes, and that all of a sudden, for the opponents, they're not quite sure which person they're meant to be keeping an eye on.
Yes, exactly. And I think, like, those short spells, that every time, 3 minutes, those guys, the change of lineup came on, it just made a massive difference. HBC, he can beat that 0.5 pretty easily. Up to Amai. Oh, good patience.
Great work there from Amai.
Amai's got probably one of the biggest support crew in the crowd here. I was talking to them out of the Whakatane in New Zealand on the northeast coast. Very vocal.
Are we going to have a lost ball, a held ball again? No, its possession has gone the way of the Brazilians. Comes out of their grasp as well. HBC tries to keep it in because it would have gone off a New Zealand arm last. It's fast and furious stuff. Everything's going Brazil's way, though, in this second quarter. An arm in there, and oh, that was so close, but it's Feitosa who picks it up. And he's going to have the function and the speed to get past Amai.
Yeah, you see the difference there on that previous turnover with Leslie being a 2.5, not having full arms, so it's harder for him to catch the ball and control it. Big long one here for Leslie. He's going to run onto it. Oh, yeah, holding foul. Penalty goal. Again, you can't touch the body.
Leslie at 2.5, managing to outpace Feitosa at 3.5. That's incredible, but Leslie, we've said it before, as 2.5s go, he's nearer a 2 3/4, and he has previously been classified as high as 3.
Yeah, classification is massive in wheelchair rugby. So
and ongoing.
And ongoing, yeah.
You can see the table there of classifiers.
So what they watch for is they're watching to see how their function works on the court, see which box they fit in terms of the game. Their role's like really important. Lots of them are physios and occupational therapists, so they know how the body works.
Amai to Leslie. Needs to get it over the halfway line. Doesn't quite.
Backcourt violation, just what we were talking about before. Cameron Leslie was just over the half when he passed that ball, and then the ball just travelled back towards the New Zealand goal.
So what was 13-11 for New Zealand has become 17-15 for Brazil. It's become a little bit unravelled for New Zealand in this second quarter.
And you see here they're just Greg Mitchell, the New Zealand mechanic, just helping Cameron Leslie get reset. Often straps come loose when you fall out, so you just have to tighten everything up again. Make sure you're secure back in the chair. So each of the players are held in their chairs by straps around the hips, around the knees. The trunk players, the ones that don't, that have full trunk function, they don't need the straps around the waist. So
Braz gets through for Brazil.
And the Brazilians doing a good job there to force Mai to inbound. So now you can see that, oh, turnover again, that's why. So they had to try and get the ball out to Rolton. I think a coach's timeout being called here, and that's smart. Get a chance just to come back and reset.
Not quite enough time for you to pop down there, Jai, and give them some pointers, but it's all gone wrong for New Zealand in this second quarter. They had a 2-point lead. They now find themselves 4 points adrift. That is a huge swing in the space of a mere 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah, Brazil, they're just really working. Again, Benoit is hugely experienced. He would have been watching that first quarter and working out the next move.
You can see two of them talking there. He's got his translator alongside him. So Benoit will be speaking English, and then he's got an English to Portuguese translator who is there explaining all of the X's and O's.
I was talking to Benoit before this game, and He tells me he can actually speak 3 languages. He's French Canadian, so French is his first language, English, of course, and he can also talk Swedish.
Swedish, indeed, yes. Yeah. I was chatting to him, I think we started off in English, then we went into French after that, so I can't quite follow up in Swedish, but very international sport is wheelchair rugby.
And Benoit, amongst one of the many paid coaches, wheelchair rugby, very much a professional sport, and very well advanced from when I had played. There's a lot of money in these top teams now. Gone are the days where they were just a warm body on the side of the court to put people on and off.
Who's going to play in this tournament? Well, who can afford the time off work? Who can afford the flights? And
exactly.
Yes. So, New Zealand with it all to do. Feitosa comes out to make sure that Leslie speeds things up. Pops over the top to HBC. That at least staunches the flow. It stops the rot.
Yeah. What they need to do here is pick up this defense, make sure these 3.5s don't get running with the ball.
Braz is one of them, number 11, and he's the one with the ball in his lap.
And look, good spread. He's going to look to pass. Oh, no, he's just using the screen. Leslie coming in for the... Oh, good hustle by Leslie getting back. You can see there he tried to reach out and just flick the ball off the lap. Yeah, you see there, he really tried to get in there and flick that ball off. Leslie giving it everything.
He is. He's a 3-time Paralympic gold medalist, 2008, 12 and 16. Not in wheelchair rugby, but in 150-metre medley swimming.
And a proud Northlander too.
He's got a lot of his family here today, cheering him on.
He has his wife Emma, his mum and dad, Ross and Teresa, and his 3 kids, even a newborn, I think maybe only 3-4 months old.
Equipment change for him. Equipment changes happening incredibly quickly.
Leslie grew up with older brothers and sisters, and he says, and I can quote this, as wheelchair rugby growing up, his brothers and sisters all played rugby and netball, and he just wanted a sport he could play. And when he had the chance to play wheelchair rugby, it was just like life-changing for him. Like it is for most of these athletes.
Great block there by Gavin Rolton, and that enabled Leslie to make some progress up the court. So the Wheel Blacks at least making sure that they score on their own possessions, which they didn't do for much of the first half of this second quarter. Now they need to set about making some turnovers.
Good hustle, Barton Coots. Turner, ooh, oh, Leslie almost. Again.
Well, at the moment we've seen number 7 Feitosa, number 11 Braz for, there they are, 11 and 7, and they are the 2 high pointers, 3.5 pointers. And at the moment they seem to have the measure of New Zealand. What do you do when you're coming up against a high-low lineup like this?
For those sort of players, you really want on defense is to put them in the places they don't want to be. They are hard to chase, but getting them down in the corners, because then you've got the sideline, the baseline as extra defenders, so it's really about putting them where they don't want to be.
Yes, you can't put a wheel on the sideline or the baseline, otherwise you forfeit your possession.
Leslie with a rugby union style pass there, it was brilliant. Rolton wide, he's looking to spread that court. Now he's coming back to pick.
There's no Barton Coots now, he's got out of the trap.
Now transition fast here, the Kiwis, they might get a turnover. And again, we'll see if they can push those 3.5s to the sideline. Look, he's down low, Leslie coming down to block. What we've got now is a Mai, she's taking the other wide. Leslie's got a hustle here.
Great screen
here we go, here we go.
One.
Oh, so close, Leslie.
It's so close every time, but Brazil had just got the slight advantage with so much speed from the 3.5s.
That extra point, you can see 3.5 versus 2.5. That extra reach in his arm. Gavin Rolton looking to screen here. This is HBC working on the screen. Look, almost just missed it.
It's over and back.
What's the call here? This is going to be critical. New Zealand ball. I think they've called this a spin.
A spinning foul against Julio Braz, the number 11.
And he looks like he might be going to the penalty bin. Let's just see what the call is. Still waiting to see.
Benoit Labrec blowing kisses to the crowd.
Yeah. That's an unusual one. I think Kiwis might have got lucky on that one there, Drew.
So it's merely the ball going out of play. So once again,
And Mai's going to look to spread it here. She's going to go wide.
get the ball over the halfway line.
Yep, and she's calling for it, calling for it. Here's the holding foul. Faitosa coming in with the arms. Again, you can't touch the body. So he's going to spend a minute in this penalty box. Or in New Zealand and Rugby Union, we call it the sin bin.
So a minute in there, and it means that 3.5 points are off the court for Brazil. So Leslie looks around, makes sure that the trap has been set for Faitosa. Faitosa has lifted his arm and said, I'm the one who wants to do the inbound. So they're forcing the 3.5 pointer to inbound. So they need to keep an eye on the other 3.5 pointer.
Oh, what are they? They're going to call that a spin, I think. Maybe not. I think it's just dangerous. Again, if someone falls over and the ball's sort of in their vicinity, they will stop the game so the player can be righted back up onto his wheels. You can see that they'll call two people on, the assistant, the staff, to just flip them back up.
Looked as if Braz hit Leslie behind the axle, but it was probably right in the middle. And Katarina Adler, the referee to the right of your screen there, judged it to have been a fair enough hit. So into the last 2 minutes. Brazil with a 3-point advantage. Brazil will also have possession to start the third quarter. Can New Zealand keep him off the board here? Faitosa barges his way through.
Again, a good example of that trunk function and just getting through. And Brazil, like Diaz and the other 0.5, just doing such a great job. They're super smart, super mobile. You know, the 3.5s can't do it on their own. Low inbound from here, this is always a problem. But Leslie again, working hard. Amai spreading the court. Big goal here, what's she gonna do? Score fast?
Just score. At the moment, it's don't particularly look at the scoreboard. It is going to be crucial for New Zealand. They absolutely have to be the last team to score in this second quarter. They can't afford, it's a 3-point deficit at the moment. Brazil in possession.
Here we go, a quick pit stop here for Maya puncher. This is
Benoit Labrec looking quite happy at the moment, as well he might be. 3 points clear. Quick change of wheels. Braz.
Here we go. Again. 3.5, so functional in this game. Oh, they're going to call this all timeout. So they didn't deem that a spin. I don't think they did.
Timeout called by Braz.
No, I think they have actually called this a spinning foul. So, like before, he hit him behind the axle, which you can't do, because then it forces the chair into a spin, and then, of course, tip. And you see there, yes, Rolton just hit him behind the axle.
Gavin wouldn't do that, would he?
How can he? He's a 0.5, right?
Exactly.
So, again, with that function, so Gavin, C5 tetraplegic, which means he broke the 5th vertebrae in his neck, which often means he doesn't have triceps or much triceps and no hand function, but still doesn't stop him pushing the chair like he does and push it well.
Back out he comes out of the sin bin. So almost perfect there for Brazil. They scored with a minute to go. So even if New Zealand take their time, the full 40 seconds of the shot clock and score, that means that Brazil will have 18.8 seconds in which to make the most of the final possession and score. They're 4 points clear at the moment. Considering they were a point down at the end of the first quarter and 2 at the very start of the second quarter, a 6-point shift in favour of Brazil. Huge
yeah,
hit.
HBC.
Huge hit by Feitosa on HBC. Leslie, they're trying to push him back over the halfway line. He's lost possession. You can see Benoit Lebrec celebrating that one.
He went into full squat there on that celebration.
He did. So 44.4 seconds to go. Brazil in possession. A lot of things have come unravelled for the Wheel Blacks in this second quarter. Brazil have shown them how it's done.
Yeah, again, well drilled. And Brazil, a country of 400 active players. New Zealand, maybe 40.
So can New Zealand multiply their score by 10? Is that how it works? Is there a coefficient system?
Let's see, here we go.
They've got the ball back. They've got the ball back. Small victories.
Yeah.
So 12.3 seconds for the Wheel Blacks to get a score on the board and give this crowd something to cheer about going into the 10-second break. The clock's now counting down. Can they work a miracle? HBC is going to try and get loose.
Holding foul. This is going to make it a whole lot easier for the Wheel Blacks. What's going to happen now is the number 11,
Braz is going to go off.
He's going to be in that penalty box again, and the Kiwis are going to get the advantage of only scoring against 3 here. So, and the Brazilians have to be careful, so they also don't want to do a what's called a penalty goal where they cross that baseline.
6.2 seconds for New Zealand to score as soon as it's touched. So now the count is on. Leslie, can he get into the end zone? Over the top for Rolton. It's too much for him to corral there, and Brazil managed to defend stoutly, and it means that at the end of the second quarter, going into the big break, it is Brazil 24, New Zealand 20.
change your lineup too, by the way. So.
Welcome back. You can see the clock counting down. We are going to get the second half underway in 10 seconds' time. Brazil 24, New Zealand 20. 2 quarters of rugby. 16 minutes for New Zealand to turn their season around, to save their season. They have to win this match if they're going to get through to the semi-finals and have a chance of being one of the 3 teams to make it through to the Paralympics.
So close. So Brazil starting with 1 in the penalty box. So this is why it's quite hard to get the ball in. They're really going to try and not let number 7 Fatoza out of this trap here.
So Brazil with possession, but
Leslie
playing
really doesn't need to go for the ball. He just turnover.
Out of play. So Feitosa went out of play, took the ball out of play. So that is an immediate turnover. It's perfect start for New Zealand, who have gone for a change of lineup here, Jai.
Yeah, they brought in Buckingham with all his experience. My old teammate from the Athens Paralympics and Beijing Paralympics, gold medalist. They're going to look to try and trap here. That's why he's holding the ball up. They're going to try and trap their other 3.5 in the penalty box or make him inbound.
Braz is in the penalty box. You can see the shot clock there says 19 seconds, 18. So plenty of time for Buckingham to score. He's making sure that his teammates have set up to trap Braz. Braz has lifted up his arm and said, I want to be the one to inbound. So that means he can get out of the trap, but that means you're taking 3.5 points off the court and making them inbound.
Often described as like chess on wheels, wheelchair rugby. It's you move here, I move there.
And then Feitosa, like a queen in chess, he can move left, right, diagonally, forward, go the full length of the board, the full length of the court, and that's exactly what he's done, as Cameron Leslie has a little bit of a chat there with Kristin Hempfling. Had an equipment change. So it's still a 4-point game. New Zealand, though, in possession.
Leslie not happy with that wheel that was put on. Often players will come to a tournament with 6 wheels. It's not unusual to burn through 3 or 4 in a game. You can.
And the wheels are about $1,000 a pop, aren't they?
They are. They're not cheap. You can.
Tyres are cheaper, but they take you can't have a tyre change as quickly as you can have a wheel change.
I used to go through spokes, and we'd just get bent axles and all those things. All those hits that you take in wheelchair rugby. Here we go, Wheel Blacks really struggling to get the ball in here. Buckingham, safe hands. Buckingham a 3.0, so he's a spinal cord injury. He has a C8 injury, so his hands work relatively perfectly, but for a few weaknesses.
Leslie can't afford to take too much more time.
Trying to bust through here.
Bounces the ball.
I think we might have 4 in the key here. That's right. So again, that painted box at the end of the court we call the key. You can only have 3 defenders in there. So number 11, Braz, was deemed to have entered that zone. And he'll spend a minute in the bin or until the Kiwis score next.
So once again, likely that Buckingham will score. And then the other players are going to, the other Wheel Blacks are going to look who to mark, who to trap.
He's gone to inbound here, and look, they'll try and really put pressure on number 7 here to not get the ball in. Leslie.
So for Brazil, number 11 and number 7 are their high pointers. The ones that the Wheel Blacks are desperately trying to keep a lid on. Braz there going coast to coast. Feitosa, the 7, the other one.
Here we go. The ball's going to go into Leslie. Now he'll just wait for his screens. A lot of pressure on Leslie. Look at that. Look, he's got both the 3.5s on him. And look at that. That's the value of those hands. We were just talking about Buckingham with the ability to catch that ball so much easier.
What a pass, what a catch. Wheel Blacks need plenty more of that.
Again, if you're sitting at home watching this and you're wondering, can I play this sport? Check with your local disability sport organisation, get involved. The more players, it's a great sport to get involved with.
Back to a 4-point game.
Okay.
10 seconds. You have 10 seconds in which to inbound. The clock doesn't start until the ball's been inbounded and then touched. But you could see the referee, Kristin Hempfling, was counting out with her arm and telling Fanny Lefono how long he'd got left to inbound, and there were no options for him to give the ball away safely. So Lefono called a timeout. You can see New Zealand now down to 1 and 1 on the timeouts. So they've used 3 of their 4 floor timeouts.
Yeah, that's a smart move. You know, you don't want to give her a turnover just yet. Another change of lineup here by the Wheel Blacks. This is good. I like this lineup. This is what we call a high-low. So they've gone 2 3.0s and 2 1-pointers with Everson and Lynch.
Everson and Lynch being the low pointers, and then Hayden Barton-Coots has come on for Cameron Leslie, along with Buckingham. So they're the 2 high pointers.
Here we go. See, this is the advantage. They can spread the court with these 1-pointers. They've got a little bit more function to catch the ball. Great ball back to Buckingham. Oh, you see, Buckingham doesn't have truck, so when he gets those hits from behind, it's a little bit harder for him to control his chair.
Hands it off to Barton-Coots.
And great. See, these are all valuable minutes where Leslie gets the rest off the court. He can come back on a bit fresher. It's a smart move by the coaching team. Barton-Coots putting pressure on down here, making it hard.
Again,
they'll try it.
10 seconds to inbound, and...
Oh, turnover. He entered the court illegally. You've got to come straight on the court. And he's deemed to have been pushed across that baseline.
So there you go, much along the lines of the play the ball in rugby league, which has got to be done straight, and never is, let's be honest. And there, so you have to enter the court straight, and that wasn't done there, I think, by Feitosa. So a huge turnover. Can the Wheel Blacks get it back to a 2-point game? HBC.
Timeout, Buckingham. Yeah, he got himself into a... He was trying to get a spot in that key so he could receive a pass, but then he just got hit from behind, so he called a timeout before he went over that baseline.
It's the last timeout. We'll see.
There he goes.
Buckingham there calling the timeout before he was barged out there by Braz. That's one thing you can't do in chess. You can't just knock one of your opponent's pawns off, but that's what you can do, yes. Amanda Larry, who was commentating with me earlier, calls it vicious chess.
Vicious chess.
And it certainly is that. Sport originally called murder ball, but the Paralympic Committee saying, well, you can come and join us, but you need a different name. We can't give out medals for murder ball, but vicious chess would be another good name for it.
It would be, it would be.
So the shot clock is reset to 25. Wheel Blacks are going to have to inbound, and that's going to be tough.
Yes, so this is deemed, this is great. So number 7, Feitosa, he's entered the meter, so you're not allowed to enter a meter circle from where the inbounder is, because what would happen is he would inbound the ball and he couldn't get on court. So great move there from Hayden Barton-Coots, using all of his trunk function there.
Yes, so Feitosa invaded that space, and he was made to invade it by Hayden Barton-Coots. So it's 4 on 3.
Wheel Blacks bringing this back to a 2-point game.
It's exactly what they needed to do. And again, Feitosa says, I'll have to be the one who inbounds. So Feitosa to inbound, and number 11 is the one to keep your eyes on if you're a viewer and also if you're a player. He reappears there.
Buckingham staying with him. Great work here by HBC, putting the pressure on.
Great block by Diaz.
Yeah. And Braz just using all that experience to get over.
They managed to spring the trap very often. So many times we've seen Feitosa have to inbound, and yet Braz manages to get free.
Buckingham using this great screen there by Everson. Buckingham used him well. He's just going to hold it up before the half. He's got no more timeouts. He's going to have to chuck it. They called it a 12-second backcourt violation.
So it's a turnover in favour of Brazil.
New Zealand should look for a change here. Just bring Cameron Leslie. He's had a rest. Bring him back on.
Leslie's had a big rest. So there was the 10-minute break. That's popped over the top, and there is Feitosa yet again. He scored 117 tries in 7 matches at the Parapan Games, did Feitosa.
Buckingham, great push. He's just going to hold it up, using that experience just to make it safe. And HBC out of Auckland, just gets a bounce in.
Hemmed in by Feitosa. And now by Braz, but pops it over the top to his fellow three-pointer. The crowd a little bit subdued. It's a 3-point game once again.
Here we go, this could be turnover time. Oh! Again, that trunk function, so hard to defend. You see Buckingham there just trying to give him a little tap, turn him back. But just that extra 0.5 makes that difference.
It's an incredible tie there that Benoit Labrec is wearing. He came here this morning in his tracksuit, but he's decided to be one of those coaches that wears a suit. And then the Ordeme Progresso Brazilian flag tie that he's wearing. There's the Brazilian flag in the background. So over the halfway line, Buckingham makes sure that he isn't pushed back over into the front court. Fires it forward. Not often we see Gavin Lynch on the score sheet.
Again, you'll see the difference in the chairs. So the low pointers, 1 pointers, 0.5s have a slightly different chair. They've got that long front designed for picking and holding the high point chairs. So those little bars at the front are designed to get over the defensive frame and pick the wheel.
Has Benoit Labrec taken a coach's timeout here, or is it the Kiwis that have done it?
You can see on the screen here, those chairs there, 3.5s are called offensive chairs, and they have those frames at the front just to sort of bounce off other chairs and push them out of the way. And then we see there number 1.5, he's got a slightly different chair at the front. It's designed to pick and hold. There we go, the Kiwis, there we go. Both those chairs, offensive chairs. And there we go, Lynch. See that bar at the front there? That there is designed to pick and hold the high point chairs, and it'll get over the top and latch onto the wheel.
Final coach's timeout was taken by the Wheel Blacks, so as you can see, 0-0. They have no timeouts remaining. As we see some of the European contingent there, you could see a Euro 23 sweatshirt on one of them. That was a qualifying tournament. It was a tournament in its own right, but ended up being a qualifying tournament for the Paralympics. And France, Great Britain and Denmark got through there.
Holding foul. I think he'll go to the bin here because Cameron Leslie wasn't really in a position to score. So often they might call that a penalty goal if Cameron was about to score, but because he was facing sideways, Feitosa's going to have to spend a minute in the bin.
Brazil seem quite happy to reach in and give away a few fouls. They're 4 points clear. It's slowing things down. It's taking time off the clock.
Holding fouls are much like rucks in wheelchair rugby and rugby union. They are a bit of a mystery sometimes. The referee can go one way or the other, so it is a good option to take.
If Kristin Hempfling and Katharina Adler are listening, that's Jai Waite there who just called your decision-making into question there.
All on interpretation.
Is the ball going to come loose? He did, but amazingly, Feitosa manages to pick it back up and then weave his way coast to coast. He's been an outstanding player for Brazil, hasn't he?
And you see again that function to be able to lean forward and just over his chair and pick up the ball. That extra arm length that he has, that advantage over Cameron Leslie that he doesn't have full arms.
10 seconds in which to inbound.
Yeah, here we go, turnover back.
And did it too late.
So corner inbound here. These ones are difficult on their own right. Just Kiwis playing half a point under here. Oh, they deemed that. They must have called a timeout, I guess, the Brazilians. They've given it back to Brazil, so.
Five points the lead now for Brazil. Braz getting yet another try. Feitosa deciding to keep his powder dry. Leslie pings that one into the crowd, which
he might get a warning for.
Well, it gives, I'm sure I'll say he did it accidentally, but it gives you and your teammates time to set up on defence.
Yeah. The referees will often give you a warning for not giving them over the ball back or placing it nicely on the ground. Leslie, big hit, really hustling.
Feitosa yet again.
So wheelchair rugby not limited to spinal cord injuries or missing limbs, quad amputees. People with MS, like weakness in all four limbs. Shark tap, Marie tooth. We have athletes with those conditions in our sport. Lynch with the big play. Big. Gareth Lynch.
That's a couple now for Gareth Lynch.
Yeah. Out of the Waikato, went to Hamilton Boys High School, now resides in Auckland. He's done some big plays in this game.
He has. Unusual to see him as an outlet, but that's a couple of tries for him now. New Zealand need a couple more and a couple more. They need some turnovers and they need them quickly.
Here we go, good hustle again.
This time it's Braz who comes back and mops up.
Oh, good hit, Everson. But again, those 3.5s combining so well.
They really have been the difference.
Jan Roux looking on. Out of France, manager of the Wheel Blacks. Also the head of Disability Sport Auckland.
Struggling with the inbounds there.
And the referee's call is off Brazil, I believe. And we have another substitution black.
Benoit Labrec is certainly enjoying himself out there.
Yeah, well, he did say he kept his powder dry in last night's game against Canada. The team he knows well, he ran his lineups. He just really rested his players for today's game. So he's really been planning for this game today.
Back comes HBC. Back comes MMA. Maya Amai.
And we see here Brazilian .5 done a great job of just, great pass, HBC.
No
finding
timeouts
Cameron
left.
Leslie, yeah. Cameron Leslie, like, no hands, the ability to catch that, it was great.
HBC comes in there and barges a bit of room.
10 seconds to score here, the Kiwis. Great work, HBC.
You almost think that try should count double,
yeah.
The amount of work that the Wheel Blacks had to put in there.
Leslie, good hustle. Oh, Kiwi ball.
You can hear the crowd here at the NZCIS. You can hear my co-commentator Jai Wait. You know that the Wheel Blacks are inching their way back into this contest. But they need to do it, not inches, but feet, yards at a time, because there's 90 seconds to go in this third quarter. They're 4 points adrift.
They still have to think tactically here. They still want to be last scoring in this quarter. So again, thinking about that clock, they want to score in about 55, so they'll hopefully get the ball back with 15 seconds to score. For a second score, I should say. They only want to give Brazil 55 seconds to score. A little bit early, but they can still make this work.
Maya Amai trapped in the corner there. She's been taken out of play by a 0.5 pointer.
And now you watch Brazil, they're going to look for
55.
that 55. Oh no, he scores. Oh no, it's still 57. That's still a good score. So now Brazil, advantage Brazil in this. All about scoring last, the end of each quarter.
Equipment timeout. The M of YMCA that the referee was doing there that's an equipment timeout. M for mechanic.
I guess. I don't know where they come up with these.
I'm saying M for mechanic.
No,
there we go.
Like it.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. HBC out of South Auckland and Auckland. Alfriston College, I believe.
And he's the one who gets the inbound from Maya Amai. So a quick score would be a good one.
Good one. Oh, this is great. Oh, this might be huge. If they... Do they call this a spinning foul? If the Brazilian has spun him on the line, he'll be in the penalty box. Are they calling this a...
I'd say that New Zealand here, they want the point for the try, and 47 seconds left on the clock.
Now, this could be huge. If they've deemed this on the line, he could be in the bin for 3 scores.
You want this to be a flagrant?
Flagrant foul, but we'll see. I think this might just be...
So the point is counted. It's a 3-point contest.
And you'll see here they've only got the one receiver. Turnover! No, they want to score it. Score it, HBC. That's what he wants to do. Sorry. Well,
HBC looking around and saying, Jai, what do I do?
Yeah.
So, a huge turnaround here. So, the spinning foul was deemed to be a flagrant foul.
Yeah.
And that means 3 scores. You have to stay in the bin.
And I think Benoit's called a coach's timeout here. They're going to discuss what to do.
So all of a sudden, this is a 2-point game. That's a huge turnaround in the last 40 seconds or so.
Yeah, and you know, if Kiwis get back within 1, they've got the ball the next quarter. There's an arrow on the score bench which team's going to get the next inbound after the quarter. This next few plays are going to be huge.
Benoit Labrec, the coach there, earning his corn for Brazil.
No, I think they're back to the full...
They're back to the 4, so it wasn't a flagrant foul, it was just a regular foul. But it still was worth a point as far.
Leslie going one-on-one here with Feitosa. He turns on top now, he should be able to get in front of him. Really has to work hard. Look at that speed. Amazing. Now the Kiwis really want to score last here. They want to use all of these 32 seconds.
They've got no timeouts to do it though.
Rolton's going to create an island here. You see he's just setting up here for HBC to use. Ball comes in safe. Maya Amai's going to spread the court here. She's going to go long.
12 seconds to get the ball over the halfway line.
Maya Amai, now she'll hold it up. Now they're going to just wait and draw out this whole 32 seconds. 20 seconds now.
The main thing though is to score.
Yes, exactly.
Clock management's good. The crowd telling them, are they going to get over the line? HBC's in there.
Oh!
Couldn't corral it. That's huge for Brazil.
It was. Feitosa again doing a great job on defense. He's big and menace all day.
Nerves there from Benoit Labrec. So it's an inbound, and that's one that you're just going to put in your lap, take no risks. Brazil lead with 8 minutes to go. They have a 3-point lead, 37-34 over the Wheel Blacks. At the start of the third quarter, we said 16 minutes for New Zealand to save their season. It's now down to 8 minutes to save their season. They've got back. It was a 4-point deficit. It's now 3 points. So close to being 2 points if Hayden Barton-Coots could have corralled that late pass. But New Zealand with possession. If they can score on this one, it's a 2-point match. And then after that, they just need the turnovers.
Brazil. Oh, great take of Mai. Again, a 2.5, but plays as a 2 with that half-point dispensation. And the great bunt there by the 0.5 from Brazil. So the half-pointers can't throw the ball. They don't have the hand function in the triceps. So often they'll bunt it with their hand to get it in, much like a chip kick in rugby union. That's how they'll get the ball up.
Leslie boxed in. Reminder as well, if you look at the scoreboard, you can see 0-0 next to the 35 for New Zealand, so they have no timeouts, either coaches or floor timeouts.
Oh, my, great. She was so close to that baseline there.
Did very well to stay within the court.
It's very hard to do with those athletes with trunk function because they can really knock the chair around. They just have that ability.
10 seconds left on the shot clock. You can see right at the screen, HBC trying to get through. Gives it off to Leslie, who just gets it before he gets the casters over the line.
Feitosa having to call inbounder here, who's trapped on the baseline. It was good transition there by Rolton.
And they're desperately trying to keep an eye on number 11, Braz.
Amai, yes, seals it off. They've isolated the 0.5 here. Look for a timeout. Yes, Brazil calls a timeout.
Forcing Brazil to call a timeout. You can see that they've got 3-0, so they've used the coaches' timeouts, but 3 floor timeouts remaining. That's one of them. So a little bit of a win for New Zealand, forcing them to take one of those timeouts.
Again, half-pointers, they just don't have that function and arm function to pass the ball very easily. Really, it's only like passing the distance of their chair, so if you can get it in their hands and isolate them, that's exactly what New Zealand did well there.
Now, for those of you wondering, we can't have a draw or a tie in wheelchair rugby. So if it's
Kiwi ball. Good hustle, Kiwis.
So there from the inbound, a turnover for the Wheel Blacks. Maya Amai comes to take that inbound. Can they get it back to within 1 point? They're trying to knock HBC out of bounds.
And I think now, Drew, what we're seeing is the Brazilians have run the same lineup the whole game.
They're going to get tired.
Yeah. The Kiwis rolling subs. This is what they, the game's 32 minutes. You've got to play that whole 32.
Back to within 1 point. One more turnover would get them level, and then it really will be who scores with the final possession, because it will be the final possession of the match.
You can already see the Brazilians aren't as tight as they were when they first started. They're getting a bit tired.
Feitosa with a hit on Leslie. Braz comes in. They need to get the ball over the halfway line.
Rolton, great take. And look at that. Takes the pressure and the hit. And holding foul. Rolton, great work.
Rolton there maybe drawing the foul, offering an arm for it to be reached upon. There, no arms being offered there by Benoit Labrec. He's the body language says it all from the Brazilian coach. Feitosa, 3.5 points in the bin. This to get it back to a 1 point game. They're going to set a trap. Maya Marshall Amai is going to go up and set that trap there on the man in the sin bin.
And so he's the one they really want to get to inbound because he's got the longer arms. And Braz doesn't quite have the length of arms, so they can probably defend him a whole lot easier.
Keep your eye on the Brazilian, number 11. He's the one who's trying to get out of that trap.
Oh, great work. He got out of there so well. Still got to watch Feitosa. Oh,
there was a bobble there.
Yeah.
Benoit Labrec pacing up and down. Getting his step count up today.
Great inbound. Oh! Oh, good get back by Amai. She should hustle here.
Need to get the ball over the halfway line.
Oh! Big hit. And they've called that a spinning foul. Again, hitting behind the axle, you can't do that. What do they call it? Is it a 1 minute or is it 3 minute? Sometimes they can, if they deem it dangerous enough, they can give them a three minute or 3 score foul. Just waiting to see what she says. I think it's just 1 minute. Leslie really felt that.
5 minutes and 45 seconds to go, 2 points the deficit.
Hold on to your seats. This is going to be close.
Taking their time. They haven't got that much time, but they want to make sure that the trap is sprung once again on Braz, who is in the sin bin. Braz now emerging, and the only way he could get out of the trap was by saying, I will take the inbound. It's worked for them
and again,
so
that
far.
Low inbound, this is good. They want to keep the hustle here. Oh, again, great work by the 0.5 down low for Brazil. Just set a little island. Leslie had to come underneath and got his man free. Low pointers are so valuable in this game. Often forgotten about. They don't carry the ball much, but the work they do gets their ball players free.
Remind me what your classification is, Jay?
Yeah, I'm biased. I'm a 1-pointer.
HBC, he's got a couple of high pointers for company.
Oh, good transition, Cameron Leslie. Trapping that man, Feitosa in the corner. He's had to call inbound. Now it's transition to the next. Stop those receivers. Give them no one to pass to. They've got 2 timeouts left. Good hustle. What are they going to call? Oh, Brazilian ball.
Cameron Leslie called it one way. And then Katarina Adler, she's the one who counts. The one in black, the woman in black. There she is, and she called it the other way. It's still going to be a difficult corner inbound, though.
Yes, hard for the 0.5s to get that ball in. Oh, great take.
Braz needs to get it over the halfway line. He'll have the speed to do it. And great blocking by Feitosa. Into the last 5 minutes. The Wheelbacks really knocking on the door here, almost forcing turnovers. But almost won't quite cut it.
Back to HBC. He'll muscle it to the half.
Cameron Leslie won't have the speed to get past Braz. He needs the help of HBC, who's come back. 7 and 11 for Brazil, the 2 high pointers.
Am I staying wide as an option, just spreading that defense out? Now she seals the corner for Leslie. Oh!
Not in possession of the ball, so that's a turnover for Brazil. Huge for them. It's a corner inbound, so not a guaranteed point,
yeah,
but
and the
they
half
need
point,
to...
Look at that bunt. There we go again. It's like a drop kick.
While that was going on, they managed the corner inbound, and all of a sudden, it is a 3-point game. Smile back on the face of Benoit Labrec.
Leslie taking that ball under heat. Long to Amai.
Feitosa was always going to be able to get back in time. Back to 2 points. Almost halfway through this final quarter, though.
Still 4 minutes is a long time in wheelchair rugby. 1 or 2 turnovers. And
needs to be 2 turnovers.
Yeah. He's a great line we used to say when we were defending is hands on wheels, especially in that backcourt. Just hustle, hustle, hustle. And by that, what we mean is pushing the whole time and just not giving an inch.
Three-point game, less than 4 minutes.
Oh, that could be long. The Brazilians.
It's a giveaway. It's a turnover.
Leslie, though, not giving up. Hustling on. So it could be jump ball. What do they call it? Jump ball. Still will be Brazilians, but not giving up on that, Leslie. That's awesome.
It's half a turnover. Half a turnover doesn't really count for much at this late stage. Yan Roux not looking the happier of the two coaches.
That little window created by his 0.5 there for Feitosa. Number 2 for Brazil, just doing great work.
All of a sudden, it's a 4-point game. That's the problem. You're forced to gamble. No timeouts, so the inbound has to come within 10 seconds. You can see the referee counting away. 5. With the arm gestures. Leslie needs to get it over the line.
And great block there by Rolton. Leslie not opting for that. Oh! Feitosa, big play.
Turnover back.
And a holding foul. I'd love to see the score sheet. I think Feitosa might be equal scores and time in the bin, actually.
It could well be the case. I think Benoit Labrec agrees with you. He must have a little earpiece in there and is listening to your commentary.
He's having a drink. That's how often he's being in the bin. They'll put a drink bottle there, especially for him.
Exactly.
And gives himself a little bit of a rest.
There is that drink bottle for him. It's yes. It's the way that he's been able to. We're talking about the two high pointers for Brazil may be tiring, but the two of them have spent so much time in the bin.
Yeah.
And it's actually worked in their favour.
It has. But equally, it just shows the hustle they've shown on defence. You know, they've really brought it.
Back to 3 points, just over 3 minutes.
Oh, it's going to be a turnover, Will Blacks.
Can't afford to go over the halfway line.
Backcourt. Feitosa again showing fight.
Could Leslie have just shepherded the ball out there?
I think that would have been the way to do it. I just don't know if he quite realised Feitosa was right behind him. The crowd, you know, sometimes, you know, you don't quite hear the people coming.
Coulda, shoulda been a turnover, but it's a point for Brazil. Fani Lefono is back on. Barton Coots needs to get it over the halfway line.
He won't try and beat Feitosa because what's the point? Lefono,
desperation stuff. Has to get the ball over the halfway line within 12 seconds. No timeouts, no options.
Yeah, that long pass to his buddy there. Bras, those two have combined so well all day.
5 points the gap now. It was 2 points at one point earlier in this fourth quarter.
Lefono 2.0. He'll just bring the ball up. One of the faster players on the Wheel Blacks squad.
HBC making sure he doesn't go back into the...
pass too long.
It's all coming unravelled for the Wheel Blacks. 5 points, 137 seconds. It looks like it's going to be a bridge too far for them. Braz taking it up and going coast to coast, making it a 6 point game. Desperation stuff for New Zealand. They need to score and score quickly. There's one of them. They need an immediate turnover. Brazil now, it'll just be ball in lap, hands in pockets. Feitosa does everything he has to do. Every point now a dagger in the hearts of the Wheel Blacks. 49-43. Their Paralympic dream is at an end. For Brazil, completely different. If they can defeat Netherlands, they will get into the semi-finals. We are at least seeing Jacinta Richardson making her second appearance for the Wheel Blacks. She's been brought on for Hayden Barton-Coots. She's a 3.5 pointer, but it's the equivalent of 3 for 3, as you're allowed an extra 0.5 when you have a female player on the court. Feitosa running down the clock. Yann Roux, the less happy of the two French-speaking coaches. The bench very subdued. Leslie's still going, but it's a case of playing for pride now. It's not quite all over. If this does end up being a defeat for the Wheel Blacks, which it surely will be now, but it's going to take one heck of a run of results to turn things around. It needs the Netherlands, in fact it can't, unless it needs the Netherlands to beat Canada and New Zealand to beat Canada after that, which would be two absolute shocks. And even then, Netherlands would have to beat Brazil. So it looks like it's all over for the Wheel Blacks. They're going to play right to the very end. And Jacinta Richardson looks like she was going to go over the try line there, but Feitosa had other ideas. Barging away through, and she barges Feitosa over the try line. So that will be a penalty try. Hands on wheels, putting real effort in there in the final seconds. But you can hear the countdown. Braz running down the clock. Fanny Lefono with the inbound, 6 points adrift. Desperation stuff, and that more or less sums up the match as far as the Wheel Blacks are concerned. Nothing they could do about the two high pointers for Brazil, Feitosa and Braz. Lefono pops that one in. It's going to go in the lap. And the buzzer will go. Brazil with the victory. Their first of this tournament. And it means that if they can defeat the Netherlands, they will make it through to the semi-finals in Group B. But unless there are some incredible results over the coming day and a half, it means that New Zealand's campaign to reach the Paralympics has come to an end. Brazil 53, New Zealand 46. You can hear the disappointment, the silence. You could hear a pin drop here at the New Zealand Campus for Innovation and Sport just outside Wellington. The crowd, though, applauding both teams. But I think it's been a coaching masterpiece by that man there, Benoit Labrec. Knew exactly what to do, had a great game plan, kept his powder dry against Canada. He knew that the big matches were this one. If Brazil could beat New Zealand, they've got another final, as it were, coming up against the Netherlands. If they beat the Netherlands, they're into the semis, and then after that, likely playing Germany for a place at the Paralympics. The matches we have had so far today: Switzerland 50, Germany 57, Brazil 53, New Zealand 46. Such a disappointment for the home crowd. Later on we will have Colombia versus Australia and Netherlands versus Canada. Australia and Canada, the two red-hot favourites. Everyone's choice to meet in the final on Sunday. Colombia versus Australia at 3:30, Netherlands versus Canada at 6 o'clock. Brazil, though, what a performance by them. Benoit Labrec, former Canada coach, Sweden, and here he is with Brazil. And you can see him gesturing and speaking, his translator alongside him gesturing and speaking. You can hear the crowd applauding the All Blacks as they leave. So many of the family and friends come along, for the likes of Robert Hewitt, number 10 there, Gavin Rolton, number 9, Fanny Lefono, Cam Leslie, Ian Simpson. Huge amount of experience for those guys, and then the likes of Jacinta Richardson making a debut at this tournament, leaving disappointed but with their heads held high. My co-commentator Jai Waite is down courtside waiting to speak to someone. It's going to be a disappointed All Black that he gets to talk to, whoever it is, and an elated Brazilian. And Jai has managed to corner Lucas Couto, the 0.5 player, the low pointer who played such an integral part in Brazil's victory. Here they are.
Hola, good win?
Yes, a hard one. New Zealand is a really good team, and we play very hard with against us.
Benoit, your coach, very good?
Yeah, really good coach. One year with us, and we learn a lot with him, and we step by step we're growing.
Well played today. Congratulations and good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you. Tomorrow will be a hard game too, but we are ready.
Obrigado.
Well done there, Jai. Obrigado. Thank you very much. And it will indeed be a hard game tomorrow for Brazil at 12:30. They are taking on the Netherlands, and that is more or less a quarter final. The winner of that will get through to the semi-finals. What a huge match that is. I don't think either Brazil or the Netherlands, they would have been dreaming of that when they came into this tournament. Now, we're not going to speak to any of the All Blacks, as you can imagine. Disappointment there, and the disappointment as they back out of this tournament, as they warm down there. You can see the disappointment on their faces, which is why we're not going to get to speak to any of them. So just to recap that score: Brazil 53, New Zealand 46, and that defeat unfortunately spells an end to New Zealand's campaign here at the 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualification Tournament. Unless there are some incredible circumstances, it looks like New Zealand will not be heading over to Paris in about 6 months' time. But there is still plenty more action for you to follow, and the next match is coming in an hour and a quarter's time at 3:30 local time. Colombia taking on Australia.